I am Ismail Sani Abacha, a native of the Upper West region, a football historian, an author, and a teacher by profession. To some extent, I love reading books. And once I read, I have to write. That is me. This is a platform to educate the audience and the football populace of the Upper West region about that platform called Association Football. It used to be a passion, and like Rattle asks, it has gone beyond a passion into a full-blown business. The question, however, is, do clubs administrated here in the region understand where the game has gone to? Do they still look at it as a matter of 3 points and 11 players chasing each other for just, will I say, points of the day? Certainly no. Because if we look at how they still execute their activities in the football arena, it tells you they have no knowledge of where the game has developed into. Number one, if we take a look at the last 2 decades, and if you like 20 calendar years, the global market is being driven by football solely because of its strength. When you come to Upper West region, where our interest lies, the club owners still believe that when they are creating clubs, they are doing for domestic supremacy. They are doing for rivalry. They are creating clubs because their colleagues have clubs. They still don't understand that football can be a full-blown business where you might not win the league, you might not qualify to the middle league and or the Division 1 league. You just have to stay at any level and you end up exporting players, selling your crap paraphernalia and then the likes. For instance, when you come to the region here, which club can boast of having a replica JC? Big no. So if you have a fan base of like over 1,000 people on the average, that can buy your replica JC for even a minimum of 10, 20 Ghana cedis. Imagine the amount you will get in to support your revenue. They don't understand this. Then also, when you talk of club revenue, normally in association football, the revenues are 3. 1 is player sales, 2 is the paraphernalia, and 3 is the corporate support. In the region here, all they do, like their attitude, their posture, and their ignorance about the opportunities awaiting them outside, leaves many opportunities behind. Take a look at Cheetah Football Club. When FIFA released their transfer data on players sold in 2021-2020 soccer season, the whole of Ghana, Cheetah topped the lot. Guess what? Cheetah is a Division 2 club in Kaswa, in the central region. What prevents you in the region here from doing same? To run up this question, the class must understand that you don't need to qualify to National Division 1 or Premier League to make it in the game. Brand yourself, have reputation. That's why Manchester United. If not, how can Manchester United be valuable than Chelsea in the current system? When they came the last time they won the Premier League, when City monopolized everything but are still behind United, is because of the brand, which our people don't understand. This is a question I've always answered on numerous platforms as to whether the football ecosystem is limited to players in the football arena. The answer again is big no. Why? I play football. Somebody will come and capture videos of somebody playing football. We go and edit the videos, upload onto social media handles, and then the person gets paid. The person has no business with football. The person doesn't know how the game is played. The person is making his money from the game. This is a summary of the question. You don't need to be related to football to benefit from it. So the blatant answer is that the football ecosystem transcends the football players into the larger market. People coming from other regions to come and do cross-regional trade, and then it's because of what? Football. And the market, again, is limitless. It's endless. That's why I say global market. Many have asked this question as usual, that why is it that people are not willing to invest in football in the region? Some point the finger to the fact that they cannot see this particular person has achieved in football. So because of his success, let me also invest, which again is a big lie. Because if you take a look at success, sometimes you don't need to measure success based on tangible buildings alone or tangible materials alone. I can take a look at the security sector and I can count over 10 people who benefited from football in the region here. when I say over 10, it can be any number. They got jobs because of their involvement in the game. And if we take a look at football in the region at the moment, number one, we have produced some historic figures that no other person can take them off the football system. Let me just take a look at number one. I'll start with my brother, Issa Nejaho, who is the most decorated trainer as far as GK trainers in the whole country is concerned. Nejaho, we can point at his buildings, we can point at his materials, what he gained from the game. At the moment, if we talk of Ghana football, the first name that comes to mind is Asante Kotoko. The club is being captained by one of us, Ismail Abdul Kanu from Tapu in the Nobulu Kalo district. Peace Adams from Kujoperi, captain War Stars to their first league crown. In fact, they are historic league crown for that matter. Now, these are people who get national call-up at given times in their career. Currently, the hottest commodity in Ghana football is from the region. Ibrahim Umaru Evra from Uchao. He's the hottest commodity. In fact, you don't need to be a Koroko supporter to admit that he's the face of Ghana football now. He is from the region. We can point at and their success. Why people are not investing in the game here in the region? It's not because they don't have visible evidence, but because potentially people they take to succeed in the game didn't succeed, and their failure to succeed wasn't because of any other factor, but their failure can be number one, laziness, because talent and laziness are parallel factors that cannot work in tandem. If you are talented and you are lazy, people saw these guys, their talent, and then how they failed. They may tend to conclude that I will not invest in the game because these were class A ballers who failed in the game. The question was, did they get the opportunity the current class are getting? Hell no. How many of them were projected? How many of them were sent outside the region for trials? Hell no. The current class of footballers, if we invest in them, in fact, you just have to invest like 10% of what is to come. Because if you invest in a young chap, and I can mention in front of this video, I can mention like 10 young chaps who, when you invest on them in less than a year, you can be as rich as any other person in the world. You just need to be connected and ready to spend some little cash. Haruna Disu sat on television platform and confirmed that if you're actually looking for like peaceful source of revenue, it is in football. Do you know what happened? A player from his team, Steadfast FC, was sold to a club in Portugal. And the figure in the public domain is 1.2 million euros. From euros to Ghana cedis. 120 billion. That's all cedis. Imagine a particular person investing 1 billion on a player. I'm just even being extreme. And then getting 120 billion. That is what the football business is. If you don't invest, you won't get. So it's the orientation that needs to change. The orientation must change. If not, we have visible evidence of success. If they call me to come and give statistics on GPL from Wadondoli, what does that mean? They recognize somebody is in the region here with in-depth knowledge of the game. These are things we just have to do. Otherwise, we'll keep having, I don't want to use certain words, but some of our thinking is outmoded. It's will I say superfluous and above all redundant. Why? We have evidence show that people in the region here can succeed or have succeeded. How come when they're doing selection they consider this place to the extent that a whole Kotoko can give their captain to one of us? He is that good, and others in the region here can be that good. So if you invest, you will get what is due you. If we take a look at the football system in the region here, I mean Upper West region, when they're going to play a game, they don't look at the science component of it. They look at the African metaphysics. They don't study the weakness of their opponent. They don't know the strength of their team. All they know is that they are willing to invest sizable amount of money on the metaphysics components, but they go to the pitch with jerseys that cannot convince a sponsor. Now, what I realized from the last 10, if you like, 15 years or so in my football journey is that the pride component of the club owners supersedes the understanding of what awaits them if they get professional. So the mindset must change. And also, going into the pitch, or going into the game and having the mindset that it is somebody's duty to provide something. We always say that if we come to the region here, they'll package the blame into one particular bag and push it to the RFA and go and sit down. That the RFA have not provided them with A, B, and C. I'm sure at a point they will ask the RFA have not provided them with drinking water, because they think that once they push it to the RFA, they are exonerated. So they must accept to move from that menace. They must know that the game is a dynamic game. The game has moved from passing into a profession, into a full-blown job. So one, you must be willing to go tactical and technical. Don't say because the club is yours, you coach it. Go for certification courses and the coaching. Get to know that in football, you trap when you have to, you pass when you have to, you can demo when you have to. Teach them the basics. It is still missing. That's one. Also, players must be oriented into marketing themselves with their social media handles. This is a platform I've always advocated. You see a professional player in the region here, or you see a very good player in the region here, who when you go to his Facebook wall, you can count like 50 posts, and you will never see his picture at the training ground. So to me, class must embrace the digital component. In fact, when your opponent is playing, I'm playing you today, and the next day I'm playing Team B. I just have to let one of the technical team go to work Team B and know that their left back is weak, but their attacker is strong, pacey, just that he cannot head. These are weaknesses and pluses he will come and write down for you. Then you also say, since their left back is good, let us not attack from that side. Let us pin him down. They must understand the game from that angle. And I can tell you, in 35 years, trust me, if Premier League doesn't come back to our region, but the region will have players gracing every single. Right now, we have 21 players from Upper West playing in the Ghana Premier League. Who knows? The number can double or even quadruple. It's possible to produce them within the region here. But first, they must embrace the digital component of the game. There's this adage that hard work beats talent. And that should summarize, or that should answer this question. When we are given talent, it is not enough to make you a successful person. Somebody can work hard, be effective, and not as talented as you are. You that have all the talent and not pursuing it, and lazy to some extent or arrogant to some extent, will move away with your talent, and the committed ones will succeed. Being blessed with quick feet where you can dribble 10, 5 players is not enough. And that is their bane. So to use your God-given talent, God has done his part by blessing you with talent. It is now left unto you to work hard, to pursue it. If you are a native of Wa and Upper West at large, the name One Pack will have to resonate in your ear, because it was a production chain. In fact, it was like the bare necessary of football in the region, because it incubated many talented footballers who are now in the top flight of Ghana football. In fact, from the late 90s to the early 2000s, anybody who has been to the One Park, where the current state building is, you realize that then juvenile football was the heartbeat of football in the region. The flagship player among them is Bukat Sadat, who went to Peru in 2005 to play the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. He was a product of that pitch. And what they were doing there is what we call juvenile football, then called cruise football. Now, when we say juvenile football, it means, in fact, nursing the players to be how the game should be played. That's a summary of it. So when you see a close footballer and then a raw and untapped footballer, you just know the difference. So naturally, when you develop juvenile football, it reflects in senior football. Businessmen, or if you like, investors, will put money where they can recoup it. Now, when you come to a region where the league is the devil with the hooliganism, where the league faces people who shouldn't be in the system, then I'm not sure any investor will be ready to invest. To woo the investors, they must cleanse themselves internally devoid of hooliganism, and then they must understand brand and reputation management. Once you lose your reputation, nobody wants to associate his or her business with you. And that's the bane of football in the region here. They have, in fact, they are years behind in terms of branding. And that is killing them as a package. That multipurpose sports complex is one initiative this current government took or conceive that reflects, will I say, their forecast or foresight. Now, when you take a look at sports infrastructure, aside creating employment, it takes care of the sporting future of the country. When I say sporting future of the country, the future stars of the country, they have somewhere to start from. South Africa won the World Rugby in the Madiba Magic in 1996. That's rugby. That was a global world championship. South Africa won it. The reason, the secret, simple. They have rugby pitches and rugby resources across almost every single community. So growing up, you tend to mingle with them at a very young age. Now, when you come to Upper West, what people don't know is what I'm going to tell you now. In the last 4 editions of the National Million Marathons, Upper West have won 3. In fact, they have won the last 3 in a row. We are the defending champions as we speak now. They've won the marathon the last 3 years in a row. They are all from the Sahara belt and the Gaba belt of the region. They don't have any way to train. Imagine what the region will do with this pitch, which I'm told will have tartan tracks for them to train. Aside the athletics, where we are going to hone or fine-tune raw talents, the pitch will also teach some kids standard football. So the pitch, yes, I'm told can be used for senior and competitive football, but per the name of the facility, Youth Resource Center, if the youth can use it to fine-tune their footballing talent, why not? And don't forget, that thing is not just for footballers. We have volleyballers, basketballers, handballers, athletics. When I say athletics, that encompasses a lot of things. So basically, that thing, in fact, I don't want to talk about the delay in completion. I'm looking at its impact. Once completed, it will bridge a gap between the northern zone and then the southern belt. But I would have wished that whoever that's in charge of that facility at least ensures that the green grass be changed to astroturf, because our region here doesn't encourage green grass, no matter the water system on board. At a point in time, the scorching sun becomes injurious to the growth of the grass. A Premier League club in an region creates a lot of employment avenues outside the football ecosystem, or if you like, the football milieu. Now, once War Stars graced the region from March 2007 to June 2, 2018, when they played their last game against Techima City. That was a dark night in the arena of Upper West football. I choose to call that day a football doomsday. Reason being that the football system collapsed on June 2 after that particular Premier League game. All Stars qualified to the Middle League on March 24, 2007 after beating Catholic Stars by 3-0, thanks to 3 goals from Alex Ayi. If you take a look at what All Stars did to football in the region, number one, footballers developed self-belief. After watching Premier League matches at the West Sports Stadium, they tend to be that I can do it. This is my role model. I will go to their clubhouse, get close to them. Then, fortunately, when All Stars players were sent to the World Cup in Debo and then Adai, okay, people from the region here watched them and decided to say, okay, I saw them coming to work here as nobody. Today they are World Cup or they are World Cup champions. Yes, how do we get one? We have about 30 players in the region here who, if mobilized and pulled together, look, the players we have playing their trade in other Premier League clubs. Okay, any investor who can pay them very well, who can entice them, motivate them. Look, coming to play in Division 1 isn't a demotion in football, because footballers, all they carry is what awaits them at the end of the month. So if Kotoko can pay their player for like 5,000, 3,000 Ghana cedis, all we need to do is look. Now at Kotoko, at Edwana, at Haas, at Brekum, at so and so, this is the amount they are paying you. We are asking you to come back home and play for your region. When you are coming to play for a region, we are coming to give you something that will not be maybe exactly as the person was getting at his parent club, but there will be other incentives aside that salary. If we can pool our fine players together, from the way the zone has been restructured, don't forget GFA just rezoned zone 1 into 2. So right now, we're going to play 3 clubs in Tamale, 1 from Bolga, 1 from Kintampo, and the rest in Wa. So our chance of getting Premier League club has been brightened. What is left now is the technical mantra, which happily we have some technical brains in the region here. Alaji Believer is now the technical director for Eswatiraman in Brunhaf region. Najao Isa is a goalkeeper trainer for Asante Kotoko. Okay, these are just 2 of several coaches. He first stayed in the league because of a coach from Jambagiri, Coach Amadou Ibrahim Chechahene. We have the men. What is missing now is, don't forget, I'm not going to encourage will I say infiltration from the politician, but political hands are needed to make it to be clear with you. Political hands are needed in this system, because if you talk about the political power in Ghana here, I'm sure the only thing we cannot do is to turn a male into a female. But once we get the political hands to add to the technical board, the managerial wing, and then the playing body, trust me, within 24 calendar months, we will have a Premier League club in the region. That's the first option. The second option is simple. Go leave the Premier League stars in their playing the Premier League. Come and pick a project. Make sure that you pick players who are going to keep together for 3 seasons. And within those 3 seasons, I can bet with my last penny that they will get Premier League club. That one, you don't need to invest that much. You just need to give them time, keep them together for 3 years. By the second or third year, nobody can beat them. One thing in football is telepathy, teamwork. Once it clicks, once that cliche work, nothing can stop them. Unfortunately, if we keep players together for like a season, the following season you have to sell. But this is a project we just have to embark on holistically, devoid of tribal affiliations, religious faith, political inclinations, and whatever. We must come together with one voice and speak the Ubuntu. I am because you are, and you because of me. Together we are. From my end, or from my understanding of play promotion, our media guys here, with all due respect, I'm not saying they don't understand play promotion, but once you go on air to talk about like a season, when the season ends, what they are supposed to do as media practitioners, unfortunately, is not what we witness in the media space. Pick 2-3 players, talk about them consistently. Make sure that we set the agenda to the listening public, because that's what media is about. Set the agenda. Tell them that this boy from Nigeria, from Sopayiri, from wherever, from Ga, is that good. So somebody who doesn't understand football or who is a businessman will say, okay, let me give him some thousands to go to Kotoka for trials. You have done your part by speaking good of the player, and then the player's part will now be staying fit and convincing the club that I am ready to defend what Abacha said about me or what so and so said about me. That is what you are supposed to do. But once the media tends to say, okay, between London Display Youth and then that causes so and so happened, and then they'll ask what happened, that the supporters quarrel. Yes, if they quarrel, that is their issue. What transpired on the pitch, we will not talk about that. And then the football system must develop a way. When I was with All Stars, I developed a spreadsheet for keeping data. In fact, during my time with All Stars, I could give you the total minute played by each footballer per season. The one that was consistent, the one that got carded, the one that got suspended. I had data for all of them. And once I'm going on the airwaves, I'll go with them, project them on the screen, and I shoot. So if we listen to the video, you can see that, that season in question, Ghanaian played so and so minute. This one played so and so minute. So the one who is in the London Paris and wants a centre back, we know that of 30 matches, somebody played 29 of them. I mean, the person is free from injuries. Of 30 matches, a defender was not carded. It means he doesn't pick the look as often. That is what they must know. Propagate the play with data. and shelf or stomach the negative component of. But when you meet the player outside, tell him, oh, bros, this behavior of yours will not help you progress. It is that simple. They don't understand that, unfortunately, and they are quick to sell the bad aspect of it, including things they can stomach. Once they begin to propagate the players, trust me, the media will be a bridge between the producers, that's the footballers, and the consumers, the buying clubs out there, if we know our rules. My name is Ismail Sani Abacha, and I'm in Bros Milio.